Hello, this is Dr. Terry Daniels. I am the host of the Rhythm of Business podcast, the People version, and I'm speaking with Nancy Spivey, who is the VP of Talent Strategies for the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. So, Nancy, thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to having this conversation with you. If you can just get us started by just telling a little bit about you and what you all do there at the Chamber of Commerce, and let the audience know how you affect you all's business world.
Sure. So happy to talk, and thank you very much for the invitation to join. We'll talk a little bit about what a Chamber of Commerce is, because I think a lot of times people have a lot of misconceptions about chambers of commerce. So we're a membership-based organization. We're not part of government, so I'm not a government employee. Our Chamber of Commerce has close to 1,800 members. So we're a dynamic Chamber of Commerce located in the Cincinnati metro region, kind of the northern end of Kentucky. So I'm happy to be part of the Commonwealth, of course, but really our role as a Chamber of Commerce is to help strengthen and lift up the business community primarily. And we do that through a number of initiatives and activities, including advocacy, representing business in Frankfurt and following federal legislation. My area is specifically dedicated to workforce development. So anything in the talent space, from making sure wages are competitive to making sure that we do all we can to bring new talent into our region, and helping companies really with business growth through talent attraction, retention, and profitability.
Well, you all have a envious position in that you all are right there located by that beautiful river, and you got Cincinnati right there, and such a bustling area. I love the Northern Kentucky area. I really think it's
we
one
love
of the
it
richest.
too. We really do. It's an interesting time though, I think, because as wonderful as our community is, we're faced with the same challenges that so many people are feeling with trying to find quality workers, trying to maintain our economic, robust nature that Northern Kentucky has been blessed to have. So, it's wonderful, but it's not without a lot of aches and pains right now.
Yeah, and so how do you, as you think about the organizations that you bring in and you're trying to get them settled in and so they can be effective and successful, how do you help them, or how do you help them foster that kind of culture, that collaborative culture in their organization so they can continue to be successful and attracting to other employees?
I really like the fact when I get an opportunity to meet a new business or a new company representative in a company located, I love to learn all I can about that company. What sets them apart? What's their competitive advantage? And then helping me understand, if I was somebody that was looking for work, what would make me find you attractive? What would make the company, shine for me? Because, it used to be, there was a lot of activity going on, like, hey, we've got these great openings and we've got thousands of people applying. And now I'm hearing, they have an opening and they may be lucky to get 5 or 10 quality applicants. And so, I think trying to make sure that people stay top of mind on what sets you apart. And that's not necessarily a job. It's about your culture. It's about how you treat people. It's about how welcoming you are. It's about what you do when you are successful and what you do during the downtimes. I mean, what are the things that, I think oftentimes we don't realize the strength of our people when times aren't good. And if you can build a solid team that's in it for the long haul, there's nothing better than all of us recognizing the value that people bring to organizations.
So with that being said right there, and you say people are struggling to attract employees, and I think the battleground also is retention of employees, because you have so many new organizations coming into an area. You all are growing at a rapid pace. You're competing with that Cincinnati space over there. What are some of those strategies that you tell organizations in terms of just that retention piece acquisition is part of it as well, but that retention piece, how do you help organizations navigate the retention conversation?
So there's a couple of things that shine in that space for me, and we're doing a lot in the retention space right now, and a lot of it is customization. What I need from my employer is very different, I'm sure, than what you need,
Mhm.
right? And what a person fresh out of college might need. And so it's listening to your people and helping them grow through a path, making a career pathway for them, making sure they understand, it may be that they're toward the end of their career and maybe they're not wanting, a college credit, or
Mhm.
they may want very different things. I love being able to leave early on Friday and go to my little cabin in the woods. So,
Mhm.
it's listening to your people and making sure that they understand how valued they are, and helping them again kind of develop an individual people plan.
Yeah. So you know this as much as I, in the space of being a VP of Talent Strategies, that engage there's a strong correlation or high correlation with engagement and organizational performance, right?
Mhm.
There's a strong correlation.
Yes.
How are you helping organizations build that engagement for their teams and for their employees? Are the things that you all as a chamber do to help organizations, and what advice would you give to organizations that needs to have better engagement, which affects their
Sure.
performance?
One of the best things that we do, I think, is bringing employers in to share with other employers what's
Mm,
working in their space. Because I think oftentimes it's, you get in front of a consultant and the consultant says, "Hey, I'm going to give you 3 takeaways, and here are the takeaways." But if you
mhm,
hear from an employer and an employee in a company that says, "Hey, this is what I've done, and this is how this person has contributed to the value and the bottom line of our organization, and this is how we've rewarded this
mhm.
person." And then to hear that person's story say, "I am invested in this company, I feel valued, they're recognizing me." I think there's an opportunity for all of us to do much more of that than we have been previously.
So again, I love this conversation, by the way. This is right up my space. Um,
Sure.
I think I feel like I'm at home again. So when you think about the need for engagement, some organizations, they say people don't leave organizations, they leave leaders.
Mhm. Yeah, right.
How have you helped organizations deal with what strategies would you give an organization where it may not be the people, it may be the leader, it may be the leadership, it may be the leadership direction, and when there's a conflict between the leadership and leadership direction and what the employees are angst about,
Mhm.
how do you help them build those bridges? What are some strategies there?
Sure. I'll say I've learned through experience in that space, because I
Okay.
know as a leader, oftentimes it's easy to be like, we're going to make sure that we're changing the direction in this particular space. And then you get a solid team around and you try to execute that and you keep running into roadblocks. And after a while, you're like, oh, I've got to go back to the drawing board. But oftentimes I think as leaders, forget to look at the whole picture. Like maybe there's just a cog in the wheel somewhere that needs a little tweaking and adjusting. And it could be that it's a manager who may not understand the value of having a solid team and may need some coaching and may need some other direction that you hadn't spent enough time on. And I think it's taking a look at the whole dynamic of your team and saying, what are the ways that we can improve, and making those adjustments along the way. And then also, I think you not only have to make those adjustments, you probably have to make them a few different times,
Absolutely.
because our world is so dynamic and changing. And so people may ebb and flow. Somebody may have a personal circumstance that gets them off course, and maybe there's something going on and they're not fully invested any longer. And so it's that continual improvement process. We've got to keep our eye on the whole picture. We've got to make sure to make the adjustments along the way and continually evaluate.
Nancy, I didn't pay you for that, but that was like perfect. I mean, again, it goes back to and the way you said it, the word I was listening to the whole time in my head was rhythm. I mean,
Hmm.
who's off, who's on? Is it the people? Is the leader? Is it the direction? And that change is in the air, kind of thing. So I'm listening for how do we get? I'm a rhythm coach, right? How do we get the rhythm so
Yeah.
that
How do
everybody
we get in the
wins?
groove, right?
How do we get
Yeah.
in that groove? Come on, what's up
Hmm.
with that? Come on, but as you were
Yeah.
speaking, I was hearing you saying it, and you were saying it in such a way like she's got the rhythm of what's going on. She knows what she's doing. So I'm gonna move out of her way, let her talk.
Doing
How
this
do
for
you
a while.
absolutely? How do you help people deal with change? Change is often
Mhm.
difficult. Yeah, whether it's the chamber, uh,
Mhm.
you know, and or the dynamics of the community. How do you deal with change? How do you help organizations deal with change?
Sure. I think you have to have an open culture. You have to have something where it's like, this might be uncomfortable, and you have to have those honest conversations like, we are going to change here, and this is going to be uncomfortable for some of you. And rest assured, we're here, we're supporting you. We understand that
Mhm.
you may have questions, or you may have, apprehensions here, or you may not agree with what we're doing. And having an open door policy where people can come to you with ideas, and then you say, hey, yes, I received this information. I'm not going to act quickly. I'm going to take your thoughts into consideration. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to understand where you're coming from. I'm going to make adjustments if we need to.
Mhm.
And also, if this isn't going to happen, I'm going to communicate that to you as well. I think oftentimes, again, leaders get in this mindset where I've got a great idea and I'm going to relay it down to my team and have them execute. And oftentimes we don't realize some of the best laid plans come from people underneath of us, and having individuals being empowered to come to you and say, hey, I think we can do this better or do this a little differently. And I think I've seen so many instances with employers that are our members that have been able to empower their people and let them shine.
Well, I think what you said earlier, in addition to that, is that how you bring other people together to hear what others are doing. I think that
Yes,
power, helps people get through change, and change is not always easy. But if I can hear it, hey, we've done this, we've gone through that, and we survived, and we're still standing. That really is that's empowering in and of itself, right? So to
that's
do that.
exactly right.
Yeah. Last question. If, and I know you do this in your world as in the chamber world, and you talk to a lot of businesses and organizations. If you're talking to people that are listening to this podcast and they're looking, say, how do we uh, convince ourselves that we can survive in this turbulent world of business? Why should I press into this? Why should I expand? Why should I grow? Why should I want to grow? What do you say to that business out there that is sitting on the edge of, I've got some capital, I've got some money, I've got, things that I can do differently, but I'm hesitating. What do you say to them to attract?
I think, yeah, and I would say, it happens to the best of us. We all get moving in one direction, and all of a sudden we go, oh, wait a minute, I got to pause a minute because I'm doubtful. I have doubt in my mind. I don't know if this is
Mhm.
the right plan or right action. But just if you think about the history of this great United States that we're in, and understand that we didn't get here by people not taking chances and risks,
Mm.
and that the people that provide the best goods and services are the ones that step forward. And I just want to, in my mind, it's telling people we're here to support you. And my role, in my role at my chamber of commerce, it's to support the business community. And I tell them, I'm your extra hand. If you need help and you need resources, don't hesitate to reach out. And I may not personally be able to help you, but I may be able to help you with someone helping
Mm.
you. So I think that's the key, is trudge forward, do it confidently, do it boldly, understand you're gonna make mistakes along the way. We all do, we're all human, but the success is out there.
Yeah. One of my favorite statements that I made to myself recently is fail fast. Take that, to your point, take that risk. I asked myself a few weeks ago, what would I tell Terry Daniels at age 14, knowing that guy was a shy kid? What would I tell that guy? And the answer I came up with, I would tell Terry Daniels at 14, fail faster.
There. Yeah,
And
that's
and
right.
so I think to your point, I mean, we just got to take that risk. We got to experience that pain, but we can get to the other side.
That's right.
We can
Yeah.
get to others have, and we can get to the other side.
Yeah. And I think we all have stories of failure, and we don't talk about those.
Mhm.
We talk about our accomplishments, we write those down, but I've learned a lot from mistakes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well,
Mhm.
Nancy, it has been a pleasure. You are a talent. And I would
Thank you.
say to the audience, if you're in the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area, and you're looking for business ideas, business strategies, talent strategies, you want to reach out to Nancy Spivey. She is the VP of Talent Strategy with the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. So, Nancy, thank you so much for your time today in the Rhythm of
Thank you.
Business podcast. To the audience, thank you so much for listening. We hope you come back again and listen to another podcast in the future. So thanks and have a great day.